Hello my magic beach bums, I am Yomi. In this short story, my hope is that you learn about the importance of loyalty and friendship for your life. In the Ukrainian city of Mariupol, a horrific and tragic war had been raging for over a month. Families had been torn apart, with most of the women and children evacuated to the west, and now only the men, and a small number of women, were left in the ruined city. These were mainly untrained conscripts, between the ages of 18 and 60, who had stayed to bravely resist the terrifying Russian invasion. Earlier in the day, the enemy had bombarded the city with a barrage of cluster bombs, and life and property had been left devastated. Those who were fortunate enough to have escaped injury during the attack, had managed to retreat to shelter, in the bombed-out remains of a nearby hospital. One of the soldiers sheltering in the now derelict building, was Anastasia. Before the war had begun, the 21-year-old, had been an art student, at the city's university. Originally from the small town of Shastia, Anastasia, along with Daniela, her closest childhood friend, had dreamed of the day when they could leave home, to live and study together in this metropolis. When that day had finally come, they said goodbye to their families, and made the journey together to Mariupol, hoping that they would build new and exciting lives, and that their special friendship would last a lifetime. Now, only a matter of weeks later, Anastasia peered out from the rubble in which she hid, and watched the motionless body of Daniela, lying 50 meters away, on the blood-soaked surface of the hospital car park. This concrete was like in no man's land, with bodies and vehicles, strewn like litter, along its haunted surface. Bullets flew low overhead, and the sound of further explosions, echoed around the surrounding deserted streets. As Anastasia squatted in this hiding place, the only person she had for company, was Petro, her unit commander, and both of them were traumatized by what they were living through. Anastasia squinted through the debris, towards her friend Daniela's body, and she knew that, despite her own terror, she must go out into the danger zone. She could not leave Daniela there alone. Petro, the commander, spoke. "It's your choice if you go, but you will be putting your life at risk, not knowing if Daniela is alive, or indeed already dead. Please don't waste your life like this." She breathed heavily, and both knew in that moment, that her mind had already firmly decided. The young woman gripped the hand of her commander, as she squeezed through an opening in the twisted structure. Petra watched, as Anastasia snaked, low and steadily, across the freezing ground, the sounds of artillery seemingly becoming louder and closer, by the moment. By nothing less than a miracle, Anastasia was able to get to Daniela's body. She reached down to her stricken friend, and pulled her body up towards herself, holding Daniela tightly for a few seconds, before hoisting her heavy body, over her shoulder. Now, as she struggled to stand upright, she knew that she was vulnerable, and her own demise could come, at any moment. Petro looked on, from the bombed building, his heart pounding, as Anastasia struggled with the extra weight. As the young woman battled forward, the sound of a vehicle's engine could suddenly be heard, just out of view, and Anastasia quickly dropped to the ground, on top of her friend. The young woman lay motionless, playing dead, as the vehicle came into view. The commander continued to watch on, and prayed hard, hoping that Anastasia could hold her nerve, as a Russian truck, carrying a group of soldiers, slowly moved along the street. As soon as the soldiers had passed out of view, the young former artist quickly stood up, and lurched forward with the extra weight of Daniela's body, and staggered back towards their shelter. Although it was only a few moments, it seemed like a lifetime until Anastasia arrived at their temporary shelter, lunging forward for the last few feet, and she managed to lower her friend's body, gently onto the dirty ground. Petro placed his first two fingers on Daniela's neck, checking for a pulse, but shook his head slowly, as he looked into Anastasia's tearful eyes. The commander spoke. "I warned you, your friend is dead, and you have risked your life for nothing." Anastasia stroked the face of her dead friend, and through tears, she replied, "But I am glad that I did it. It was a risk worth taking, and the most meaningful thing I have ever done." Petro was confused, and Anastasia spoke again. "When I first reached Daniela, she was still alive. I lifted her body towards me, and she whispered into my ear. I will never forget what she said, as long as I live." Petro listened, and the young woman continued, "My friend's final words to me were, 'Anastasia, I knew you would not leave me to die here alone. Please tell my family that I love them." The young woman and her unit commander sat in silence, feeling immense sadness, as they looked down at the dead soldier's body. So, for you, my invaluable listener, herein lies a lesson. When your heart talks to you loudly and clearly, telling you that you must do something, for a true friend, no matter what the consequences, then please do it, so you don't have regret about it later in your life. My hope for your life is that you be gifted with the blessing of deep friendship, because a true friend is the one who stays, when everyone else no longer remains. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new teachings. Don't forget to check out the description for this video, because it includes some great links for you. Go make magic in your life and tell us about it in the comments. See you real soon right here at my magic beach.